This is the QB Huddle Podcast, hosted by Tim Smith and Brandon Newey.
Welcome back to the QB Huddle Podcast. I'm joined by Brandon Newey, the all-world quarterback out of Oklahoma. I'm Tim Smith. I am nobody out of Chicago, and we're here to talk all things quarterbacks all season long. Brandon,
let's go.
Crazy week. We know I've got a Cowboy jersey on, the last great quarterback that played in Dallas, Tony Romo. You've got a 49er jersey on. We know what happened last night.
Repping, baby. I'm repping.
To the
yes.
victor goes the spoils. Go ahead, talk about it, man. What happened last night? What happened?
Man, another 30-plus piece. Another one. Ever since Brock Purdy has stepped in to a 49ers uniform and led his 49ers on the field, he averages 30 points a game. It was 42-10. Man, I thought it was going to be a closer game than that. I'm not even going to lie to you. I was a little shocked that you guys really didn't show up. Like, you guys laid down. And I said the only way we win this game, okay, is if we stop their run game, which there really wasn't one, okay, and also if you put if you put the ball in Dak's hands. I trust my quarterback more than yours, and I think I was right. Sometimes these things happen. I'm not going to get too overwhelmed by it. This is a long season, so to start out 5-0 feels damn good. Cowboys were held to 197 total yards to 49ers 421. You guys are little brother now. You're the little brother. I know we got 5 championships apiece, but you are the little brother in this era.
We keep talking about a rivalry, and
it's a traditional rivalry.
But my point last night was: is it really a rivalry if the Cowboys never win the game? Which we haven't won the game in years against the 49ers
since Tony Romo.
I don't know that it's a rivalry. The last time we beat the 49ers was Tony Romo with 2 injuries in that game, by the way.
Yeah,
I think that's the game where he ruptured his spleen and threw a touchdown to miss their 4th and long, if you remember. Jesse Holley to win the game on a walk-off touchdown pass to Jesse Holley. Romo did things that Dak Prescott can only dream about doing. And yesterday was a manifestation of that. Dak had that deer in the headlight look again. I told you privately, I was very boisterous on our shows. Obviously, Cowboys were going to win because I'm a Cowboy fan. But I told you privately that I felt like we were going to take a big one on the chin. I didn't think we were going to compete, and we didn't. The defense kind of surprised me. But again, people complaining about the defense when the first half, I think the Cowboys had 76 yards of total offense, 74 yards of total offense. Which that means that your defense has been on the field the whole time because the offense isn't moving the ball. And when that happens, I don't care how good your defense is, you're going to get worn down by a team like the 49ers who are very strong.
I think you guys were like 30-something% on third down conversions, and you didn't get in the red zone at one time.
We were 36% on third down.
Trash.
So, I mean, that goes right along with our red zone, what our red zone percentage is. So we did have – Dak made one heck of a throw last night to Turpin.
Little man coverage, inside fade, beautiful throw.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of those, hey, we're going to throw him in motion and you're going to throw the corner route, right?
You guys never motion.
They told him where to throw the ball, and he made a good throw. That was his
beautiful throw.
It was his only thing that he did right the entire game. I'm so tired of the Dak Prescott experience, but we're stuck in it. There's nothing we can do about it. I've been saying it since he was drafted, that he wasn't the guy. Nobody wanted to listen to me. Maybe now people.
You just missed Tony. You missed Tony. I get it.
I do miss
Tony. Would have put up a better fight than that.
I do miss Tony because
Dak just laid down.
Dak doesn't do anything at the line of scrimmage. He doesn't check out of plays. He doesn't get us into good plays. He doesn't change routes. He doesn't move people around. He just ready. Let's go. That's Dak Prescott's pre-snap thing. It's ridiculous.
He has a deer in the headlights look, man, all the time.
He
doesn't play good against good teams. He only plays well against easy teams. But we'll dive into that segment a little later on that.
I saw this all day was Dak Prescott this, Dak Prescott that. But you're right. When we get to the winning teams, when we get to teams that are above 500, Dak doesn't play well.
Right.
We talk about the coaches. Everyone last year was, it's Kellen Moore's fault. Now this year it's Mike McCarthy's fault. Well, we had Jason Garrett. we had Kellen Moore, and we've had Mike McCarthy. The
Yeah.
one thing that's been constant through those three coaches is our quarterback, Dak Prescott. And regardless of what kind of offense we try to run, we've tried a vertical pass offense, we've tried an RPO offense, we've tried a little bit of a mix now with the West Coast where we're going to run and play action and throw. Nothing is working. At some point, we have to go, okay, the one constant is number 4, and our offense never looks right. Well, a couple times a year, but it's time to go. It's time for wholesale changes offensively in Dallas.
You know what's crazy, man? I mean, you guys had 13 total drives. We had 25 first downs to your 8 first downs.
Well, we spent the whole first half going 3-0. So
yeah, I mean, it's just guy has a deer in headlights look. I didn't see anybody galvanize, the team or whatnot. I don't know if there's a bunch of leaders. I don't know if this is very coach driven by the Cowboys, but I will say the Niners are player driven. Like they hold themselves accountable. Our defensive coordinator Steve Wilkes is in the box, right? Fred Warner and those boys, they are handling it. They are on it, right? You saw at the end of the game, even though we had a blowout, Fred Warner went over to Javon Kinlaw because of a bad penalty, and he started talking to him after the game. I mean, those are the things you want to see when it comes to championship potential teams. And I mean, we're in the first quarter going into the second quarter of the season. It looks good right now. I'm not going to be this, crazy fan. Oh my God, the Niners are going to the Super Bowl. We got some tough tasks, leading up into this, but I love what I see. So I know we don't talk a lot about, team concept, especially in this podcast, but I just feel like us being 2 fans, man, I hate you guys didn't put up a fight, but I love we beat the hell out of y'all. Like, I love it. I just wanted a fight. Like, you just gonna lay down?
Here's how I knew it was over. It was 42-10, and I had sent you a text earlier in the night that Dak will start putting up numbers when it's like 31-3, right? He'll throw like 3 touchdowns, and we'll talk about what a great night Dak had. Even in the blowout, when he usually has his numbers, he couldn't even get numbers then. He throws 3 picks in the second half, 2 of them in the fourth quarter. And now people want to say, well,
one of those to the second team defense.
Those picks don't matter because the game was already out of hand. Nonsense. All the picks matters. He's got 4 picks now on the season. He's certainly going to reach that 10 number if they continue.
What's his projection right now? Like, what's his projection? I think he's projected to throw a high amount of picks this year, actually.
We've tried to take care of him. We've tried to take care of him with the Duke and Dak offense, and then but like you said, we want to put it in Dak's hands. And I told you, if you put it in Dak's hands, we're going to lose. Once again, the game goes.
You're right.
We lose.
You're right.
He's not the quarterback.
He's projected
on his shoulders.
He is projected to right now. He is projected to throw 17 touchdowns to 14 interceptions. That's a $40 million quarterback, bro. That's a $40 million quarterback. I mean, people call me crazy when I say there is no quarterback in the NFL that is worth $200 million. You kill your team.
That's worth that much
you
money.
Kill them. Like, look at the performance of, all these quarterbacks that are getting paid all these millions of dollars. It is very subpar play right now. But you got a guy right now that is making under $1 million, a roommate in San Francisco, and he's playing the best quarterback out of anybody out there right now. And I will debate that all day.
People need to do it the way Patrick does it, the way Tom Brady did it, the way Tony used to do it. Take your pay cuts, spread the money out to the rest of your team.
Spread the money out, build your team.
That's what you need to do as a quarterback. And when you take all that money, you hamstring the rest of your team. Period.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Let's move on from this. This is hurtful. We're going to get back to that.
Are we coming back to it now?
Let's talk about let's go to one of our favorite segments. Of course, all of our segments are great and we love them. But who was on fire? Best performances of the weekend, Brandon. Out of respect for you and that hat you have on, I'm going to let you go ahead and start. Take a drink.
Well, thank you. Had to quench my thirst there. Sure. It is Glock Purdy, Mr. Brock Purdy, Mr. Relevant, Mr. Franchise is what I'm about to call him, because what he's doing right now, he is playing unbelievable. If you've ever had some opportunity, don't watch the highlights. Go back and watch the All-22 on NFL Plus. Go and watch the QB School and watch Brock Purdy. he is giving you a perfect example of how to play quarterback. It is a perfect example, and he's playing with so much confidence. I mean, he threw for 252 yards, 70% completion, no turnovers. Right now, he's 9 TDs, no turnovers, number 1 QBR rating in the league right now. To me, he is my front runner as the MVP as a quarterback. As a quarterback, I will say the MVP to me right now is CMC, is Christian McCaffrey. But besides that, I feel Brock is playing extremely well. Is it a homer aspect of it? No, it's not, actually. When he got in, I was trying to find ways to pick him apart. I was trying to find these little ways. He would do this like Eli Manning turn where he throws and he'll turn his body real quick. I was like, ooh, I don't know if that's really going to work all the time. But what he's doing, he's standing in the fire. He's delivering the mail. He is a true leader. His hands are like this in any situation. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, we've had a huge sample size now. This guy has gone 10-0.
And it's
10-0. And
it's not the scheme because he did the same thing in
college. It's not the scheme because we had the same scheme with Jimmy Garoppolo. You have the same scheme with Matt Stafford. You have the same scheme with Tua. And it's a copycat league, but a lot of this, yes, it has to do with his playmakers, but the guy is delivering the mail on time with anticipation. It reminds me a lot of what Kurt Warner was doing with the St. Louis Rams, how quick he would get the ball out of his hands into those playmakers' hands, and they'd run free with it. CMC and Marshall Faulk are very similar style players. And then you have Debo, who can complement as an X factor. And now Brandon Ayuk is emerging as a top 10 receiver, along with George Kittle, who is the most complete tight end, in my opinion, in the NFL. The most complete.
Put him over Travis Kelce right now?
But Travis is not the most complete. Travis can't block
he can't
shit.
Block, right? Okay.
Exactly. So I'm talking about most complete. Will do the dirty work. Will get you yards and get you yak. George Kittle is the most complete tight end in the NFL. It's not close.
Speaking of copycat, how do you feel that your 49ers, that your coach Shanahan sat and watched football yesterday afternoon, was obviously watching the Detroit Lions game, because in that game last night, he ran the same exact trip play that the Lions ran. It was the same exact motion, the same exact play, threw a touchdown to a tight end, just like the Lions did, by the way. Both of those tight ends that caught those passes played at Iowa, which is pretty funny to me. But how do you feel that Shanahan's out there stealing plays from the Detroit Lions on a Sunday afternoon?
Bro, it's a copycat league, man. I mean, if you look around the league and this offense and just the way things are orchestrated, it's all coming from that Bill Walsh system, and it's evolving. It's the Bill Walsh, Mike Shanahan, and it's evolving. Now you're got a lot of guys with motion and shifts. They don't really get a lot of press coverage as far as getting a hand on them. There's a lot of free releases. You see it in Miami. You see it in Washington a little bit, especially with those kind of players, though they're not executing. You see it in Kansas City. You see it in Kansas City. You see it. You see it with the Rams. You see a lot of this, and it is a scheme. But I just feel like the difference maker is Brock Purdy, man. He's really that good. Like, it's hard to find a knock on him besides, oh, he doesn't run a 4.5, or oh, he can't throw the ball 70 yards down the field. Who gives a shit when you can deliver the mail under 2.5 seconds and get your playmakers the ball? I would love for my quarterback to play that and extend plays the way he does. But I know I went on a rant about Brock Purdy. I've just been waiting on this moment because I know so many people talk a lot of crap. Yeah, I know so many people talked a lot of crap about him, and it's like, you can't knock a guy that executes properly. You can't. Like, how do you stop that? The only way you stop him is get to him, right? And so who's your on fire, man? I saved this one to you, man, because I know we've probably been torching him since the beginning of the season. But damn it, he deserves his flowers. Go ahead and give it to him, Tim.
I've got two guys that are on fire, but I'm gonna start with this guy. It's kind of an interesting situation in Chicago, but Justin Fields, the last 2 weeks actually has been amazing.
You deserve it, brother.
This week against Washington, 15 for 29, 282, 4 touchdowns, no picks in that 40-20 rout of Washington, who really needs to be relegated back to the XFL. They played that bad. You need to be left out of the NFL. This 2 weeks ago, he was 28 of 35, 335, 4 touchdowns against Denver, even though they lost that game. Justin Fields has been absolutely lights out. I don't know if they've made a little bit of a change inside that locker room as far as the offense that he's running. I don't know if maybe in his head he's playing to get traded. I don't know what's going on in this man's head, but he's playing outstanding football right now. And you don't know. That division is still up for grabs. They have a big game this week against the Vikings. Maybe the Bears could do something here. I mean, they were supposed to in the beginning of the season.
They really
Justin
can.
Fields keeps playing like this. You never know. I will say, rest in peace to Dick Butkus, who did pass away just a couple of days
Playing with
ago.
a lot of emotion there.
80 years old, probably a lot of emotion Thursday, but emotionally not. You went
Emotionally
into Washington
driven.
and you beat a team that, I mean, you were raving about them just a few weeks ago because they were 5-0. If you count the preseason and Eric Bieniemy and all
They were
this,
doing really well.
they're trying to run that Kansas City offense without Patrick Mahomes and without Andy Reid on the sidelines, and it's just not working out the way they want it to. And I'm here for it.
I feel they have the playmakers though. I really do.
We're going to see.
I feel like their playmakers right now are better than the Chiefs' playmakers. I'd put money on that.
That could be. The Chiefs are struggling.
Go look at it.
The Chiefs have a better staff, and they still have a better team.
Exactly.
They still have a better quarterback. So the Chiefs are still in it. I think Washington, they've lost 3 in a row. We're going to get on them, or I'm going to get on them a little bit later in the show. My next guy is going to be Jared Goff out of Detroit, man. And Jared's
did really good.
Excellent. The lines are
very efficient.
You did have that one little hiccup earlier in the year after beating the Chiefs, and you went home and lost the game, but 20 for 28, 236, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Love that. He also threw it, like I said, he threw that touchdown to the tight end on the exact same play that the 49ers ran. Goff is on fire right now, and the Lions, the Vikings, and the Bears, I think, I mean, maybe the Packers have been up and down, but this division is wide open, and maybe Jared Goff, the way he's playing, has the inside track. I don't know. Who's your other guy?
Well, I really have 2 guys, man. Really 3, because I know we miss a lot of people, but I'll keep it quick, short and brief. We do miss a lot of guys at high performance, and yes, we always choose 2, but I feel like these guys actually deserve, like, we know who they are, but it's like they're standing out a little bit, and I feel like seeing Jalen Hurts, 370 plus total yards, 2 TDs, 65% completion. He may not enamor you with like crazy passing games, but my man's 5-0, and he's been 22-1 in his last 23 starts. That's crazy to me.
A great team.
Hey, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. What is he doing? He's getting W's. He's winning the game. He's not turning the ball over. Yes, he does have 4 TDs to 6 or 6 TDs to 4 INTs, I believe. Right now, it's not a crazy ratio, but at the same time, I think they're getting more comfortable with the offense. It's a new change of the guard under offensive coordinator. They just find ways to win. Seeing also Joe Burrow come back.
Can stop the run. The Eagles need to run up against a team that can stop that run game, and then they're going to be in trouble.
Here we come.
Although they do have a defense. They do have a defense.
Here we come. We're ready for them. Here we come.
Anyway,
I can't wait.
Continue.
I think another one is Joe Burrow. Is his calf getting a little healed? He did look like a little bit more like Joe Burrow. Jamar Chase really helped with a really big day, but he was also really schemed well from the past time instead of just running stops and slants and goes. He really perfected his craft running in zone sits and digs, over routes. I mean, Chase really showed us that, hey, I'm still here. Also, my last one is Pat Mahomes. Despite it doesn't look like the Chiefs' offense, but he is extremely efficient right now. 75% completion, 281, 2 TDs, no picks. He is doing it with a cast that he's going to have to will this team, him and Travis Kelce offensively. I think having Jarrett McKinnon there helps. Also think having Kadarius Toney may help if he gets back a little bit, but they really don't have a true vertical threat. And that's what the Chiefs were so good at. They could stretch the field so well. Now it's a little bit more condensed. It's a little bit more quicker throws, get the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hand, which he's doing very well. And I'd say all those guys are on fire, man. Well, now besides, showing people flowers, who's going in the garbage juice, man? Who's in the doghouse here? I mean, it was a lot of bad quarterback play from people that we kind of expected, but we're still going to call you out on it.
I got one guy, and one guy only. There's only one guy I need to talk about.
Dakota Rain? Is it Dakota Rain?
He plays for the Dallas Cowboys. He wears number 4
Damn it,
now.
Dak.
Before all y'all jump on me and say I'm being too hard on Dak and all this kind of thing, no,
Nah.
it was not all Dak's fault yesterday. It hasn't been all Dak's fault when they lose games this year. But he's certainly not part of the solution, and that's my problem, right? He's not the entire problem, but he is also not part of the solution. And let's talk about that because he threw 3 interceptions last night. He was 14 for 24 for 153 yards, man. 153 yards. You had 74 yards in the first half. You're leaving your defense on the field because you can't get first downs. You literally have zero ability to get first downs. You're 36
first downs.
36% on third down. I don't want to hear that it's Mike McCarthy because we've gone through Jason
Right.
Garrett, Alan Moore, and Mike McCarthy. And now all 3 of them apparently are the worst offensive coordinators in the history of football. Dak's the best quarterback of all time, but he just can't get the right coach. I'm tired of hearing that because there's been one constant this entire time since 2016, and it's been Dak Prescott. The only thing I wish is that I could go in a time machine, go back to 2016, go into the offices of the Dallas Cowboys, grab Jerry Jones by the neck, and force him to call Jason Garrett and put Tony back in the starting lineup in week 10 when he was healthy. Because of that singular move where Tony Romo had to come out at the podium and give his job away to Dak Prescott, that move is going to haunt the Dallas Cowboys forever. We have to pay this Dak Prescott guy, this average quarterback, $45 million because there was no other quarterback to get. We were kind of hamstrung. He was injured. So Jerry's like, well, I can't admit I made a mistake in 2016, so I just got to pay the guy. Now Jerry's in a situation where he does not want to admit that he made a mistake, and we may pay this guy an extra $50 million before the end of the season. And I just don't understand it. I just don't understand why. And people love Dak Prescott. The fans love Dak Prescott. If Tony Romo would have had a game like yesterday, they would have ran him out of town. Dak has that game, and it's okay. It's Mike McCarthy's fault. I'm tired of it, bro.
Nah, man.
I'm tired of every.
Dak don't move no more, man. But we're going to dive into him a little bit later because we do got a little recap section.
And to me, he's in there by himself. And because he needs some time to think about who he is, who he was, who he wants to be. So, Dak, you're in there by yourself, bud. Just sit there and self-reflect. You're in the darkness like Aaron Rodgers was, but Aaron Rodgers chose to go to the darkness. You're just being thrown into the juice by yourself. Enjoy that shit for a week.
He needs to go do some, what is it called?
Self-reflection in the dark. That's what he needs.
But what is the thing that Aaron Rodgers does?
The darkness. The darkness retreat. Isn't that what it was?
The juice.
You talking about the Owasaki.
Ayahuasca, whatever it's called. Yeah, you need to go take a little bit of that, man.
If you can snort it, sniff it, interject it into his veins, Jack needs it all. He needs every bit of whatever it is that he can get to become an NFL quarterback. That's it. I'm done. I'm done.
NFL quarterback. So he not even an NFL quarterback, huh?
No, that's a little much. I kind of crossed the line. He's an NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
He's one of the starting 32. I'll give you that. He's one of the starting 32, but yesterday he did not look like one of the starting 32.
He didn't look good, man. Pressure bust pipes. And my garbage juice is Mac Jones. 110 yards, 2 interceptions, 54% completion. Brother, you can't do that. And you're 1-4 right now. Now, granted, Belichick does have a solid defense, as he's known for many years, but he's also had Thomas Brady. And Tom Brady, one thing about Tom Brady, he elevates the players around him. Mac Jones looks like he needs the entire Alabama offense from college to step back in to be able to actually be effective. You have Bill O'Brien as an offensive coordinator, which Tom Brady had as an offensive coordinator, which statistically was one of his best years. So I don't think it's OB, right? I don't think it's him. Mac Jones has a lot of sporadic moments, right? I mean, he'll throw way across his body. Quarterbacks, you know damn well you shouldn't do that, right? Get rid of it, okay? Live to fight another down, right? Situational football, Mac Jones is not there. Could he thrive in the offense if Kyle Shanahan would have took him? Probably, but we all know Kyle's not a QB developer. I just think right now Mac Jones is not playing at a high level, not even mid-tier. He's at the bottom. He's on pace to throw for 26 interceptions this year.
That's terrible.
So
I saw Dan Orlinski say today that he feels that Daniel Jones would have the same success in San Francisco that Brock Purdy is having.
No.
And to me, why are
No.
we insulting Brock Purdy, saying that anyone
No.
can step in there and do what he's doing?
Listen,
But
nobody's.
what Brock is doing is special.
What Brock is doing is something you haven't seen since probably Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees. He kind of reminds me of Drew Brees in a little bit of ways. He's smaller. He doesn't have the most craziest arm. He throws with insane anticipation. For fans who are saying that, oh, Brock may not be this good, I want you to go watch real film and not highlights on ESPN or Fox. I want you to really watch the film and watch what he does well. He's extremely efficient. It's hard to find something wrong with him. And trust me, I'm hard on my Niners, especially when it comes to quarterback play. I haven't seen a quarterback play like him since Steve Young. And that was when I was a kid. Out of all these other quarterbacks, yeah, we had a nice little run with Cap. I still was like, man, I'm not sold on him as a passer. I wasn't sold all the way on Jimmy Garoppolo, though he won games.
Right.
I wasn't sold on Jeff Garcia because, yes, he was sporadic, but he didn't win a lot of games.
Well,
this dude stepped in day one and said, this shit is mine.
Let's put this in
It's
the
over.
Cowboys context. We keep talking about Dak and his offensive coordinators. Well, let's look at San Francisco. You've had, under Shanahan, you've had Kaepernick, you've had Jimmy, you've had
Blaine Gabbert,
Lance, who?
Brian Hoyer.
There you go. So you've had all these quarterbacks, and none of them in the same system with the same cast has been able to do what Brock Purdy is doing. And
it's not close.
When you look
it's not
at that,
close.
You have to elevate Brock Purdy and say he is that guy. Conversely, you look at the Cowboys, 3 different offensive coordinators, same quarterback, same result. That's the
common denominator.
It's the common denominator. And in this case, Brock is he's got the same coach, the same system, the same cast, but he's doing well above what anybody else had done in the last 3 to 4 years there. So you got to look at that, and you got to say Brock is.
It's unbelievable. Just keep him healthy. If we keep him healthy, great. I'm not gonna be one of these crazy fans. We're going to the Super Bowl. Oh my God! Like, we got a long season. Keep him healthy, because what we have is a really good thing. We have a really good thing, and it's hard to beat. Keep him healthy, and I love that our offensive linemen are mean as. They're mean, and I love it. They were all over Micah Parsons. I told you we were going to wash him.
Okay.
He needs to go play linebacker sometimes. 3rd down, go rush the passer. Outside of that, play linebacker, bro. You are not a defensive end.
No, he's not.
You're not. We'll run right at him, just like how Von Miller, we run right at Von Miller. Like, we run right at these smaller guys. Like, these guys aren't TJ Watt and Bosa who can really just set the edge. They don't do that. Their job is to go get the quarterback. So outside of that, I know we've been talking about this, and hey, it's all right, man, because we're big Cowboy and 49er fans. This is our show. Who cares? If you want to listen to it, fantastic. If you don't, turn it off, because we're going to have more segments for you, and especially this segment is our Brady moment. Now, our Brady moment, there was a couple of clutch moments from some quarterbacks right now. Tim, who do you have as your Brady moment?
Well, I don't think you're going to agree with me here. I when I looked at the Brady moment this weekend, I know there's some guys that did some things at the end of games, set up for field goals and things like that. I couldn't find one. What I did find was a quarterback that we expect to be an elite player week in and week out, who hasn't shown us that over the last 3 weeks due to injury. But yesterday, and you touched on it, looked like himself again. And I'm going to go with Joe Burrow. 36 for 46, 317, just the 1 touchdown, 1 pick. But here was the difference. He was pushing the ball down the field. He was throwing passes past 20 yards and being accurate. He ran with the football 2 or 3 times yesterday. To me, finding Joe Burrow going for an entire game and looking like Joe Burrow, while the Ravens didn't look like the Ravens necessarily yesterday, top to bottom, this leads me to believe that maybe the Bengals now, who we left for dead a couple weeks ago, they might be back. That entire division is open. Not sure what's going on.
So sporadic.
Not sure what's going on with Cleveland and Deshaun Watson there, who didn't play last week when he was cleared to play. They still have a good defense. Not sure what's going on with Pittsburgh. They're kind of bipolar. Week to week defense is always good. Offense is up and down a little bit. But If
Right.
Joe Burrow continues to build on what he did yesterday, which I feel like was his first game of the season because he was actually healthy,
Sure.
I look at that as a turnaround game yesterday, and I felt like it was a big moment for Joe Burrow and the Bengals.
Absolutely, man. I can agree. I think Joe looked really well. He had like a 10-yard scramble and slid. It didn't look like it was hindering
He
him
didn't
as
look
far
hurt.
as the calf goes. He looks
Yeah,
good. They look dangerous. That division is just beating each other up. It is a week to week division. You don't know what's going to happen. I think they do have a chance. My Brady moment, I start to just find the details. And when we talk about Brady moments, listeners, we talk about that 2 minute drill, that 4 minute offense when the game's on the line, when you're down and you need either a field goal or you need a touchdown. And these two guys to me stood out and they did their job. Desmond Ritter, we don't talk about him a lot. We don't see him a lot in Atlanta, right? During that time, Houston Texans were leading 19 to 18 with about a minute and 54 left. My man went down the field and was 100%, 5 for 5. 3 were to Drake London on some clutch throws, right? Ended on a field goal. Now you're probably saying, well, he didn't throw a touchdown. Well, Tom Brady actually led in his first 3 Super Bowls. They were all field goals, and he led the game-winning drive. So that's what we really try to focus on. When the game's on the line, can you put it on your shoulders and get your team to where they need to be
get
to
it done,
execute the
son.
right way, right? Get it done. And who got it done is Kenny Pickett. Little
He
small
did.
hands after all the shit we've talked about him, right? I know my unc's going to love this. Shout out to my unc because he calls me every single day to talk about football. We'll have him on the show soon. He had a 2 minute drill, perfected it right, threw a fade on the right side, 2 minutes left. This is a Baltimore versus Steeler matchup. We know it's going to be grimy. I was a little shocked that Baltimore just didn't run away with this, but like a Pittsburgh Steeler team, like I said on the couch coach, these guys fight. They find a way. They
Yeah.
find a way to fight, right? And coming off of a loss, an embarrassing loss to the Texans with Mike Tomlin, he didn't want to put that product out there. Did the offense look crazy good? No, they didn't. But they found a way to win. And so Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ritter, Joe Burrow, kudos to you in the Brady moment. All right, gang, this is the halftime, okay? We just want to just shout out all of our fans that are supporting us. I think it's been phenomenal. I think this experience for Tim and myself to voice our opinions. They kind of been spot on, which is great. We just really do this. We're a bunch of quarterback nerds that just really love and have a passion for the position. Both played it. Both had some success there. Now we're just sitting on the couch and we're just talking noise. But I think it's really good. I think really covering the NFL for the first time for me, I think it really gives me a deep dive into these teams along with quarterback play. But we also have another amazing podcast, and it is the main podcast that we really try to push, and it is the Couch Coach. The Couch Coach it's been really good. Every episode has been spot on. The team chemistry is there. Shout out to EXO, Tim Smith, aka Tim Jitsu, Nui, myself. And we also have some special guests. I think these special guests are coming on and they are doing such a great job. So we really appreciate all the support. Please go like, share, and subscribe. We're dropping these every single week. QB Huddle is going to drop on Tuesdays or Wednesday mornings, and the Couch Coach drops on Thursday mornings. Guys, we love your support. Any feedback is good feedback for us because this is something we're very passionate about. We love all the feedback that we're getting. Tim, talk a little bit about your experiences as far as the QB Huddle, how we got this started, but along with the Couch Coach being one of the co-hosts on one of the shows that I feel is going to skyrocket soon.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, it's been a crazy ride. Nui and EXO are longtime childhood friends, and EXO had this idea as a music guy that he wanted to do a podcast surrounding football. Got with Brandon. Brandon, lucky enough, said, "Hey, I got a guy that would be good for this," and he brought me into the fold. I appreciate that. While we're at Brandon's house on a Sunday morning at 7 in the morning, having a meeting about the Couch Coach, we decided that we should start doing little videos on the side just to kind of talk about it. And the QB Huddle was formed with Brandon and myself. So that's been a really crazy experience. Sadly, we were supposed to have Quincy Carter today. We will have a show in the coming weeks with just us and Quincy. He wasn't able to make it today due to his high school coaching obligations.
Shout out to Quincy.
Next week, we've got Mark Clayton, who played at the University of Oklahoma. In a couple weeks, we'll have Vernon Sharp, who just got signed to an arena contract. We'll have Robert Kent, Jackie Bridges. The list goes on and on with people that we're going to have prime weights on this show.
We can't wait. Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Couch Coach this week has a very special guest, our first professional radio guest, Jacob Dattamore, who calls the Grapevine Mustang games with me on Friday nights in play-by-play. He works for the Ticket, and he is going to be on our show tomorrow night. He was actually at practice all week with the Cowboys. He was in the interviews with Mike McCarthy, so we're going to get some inside scoop from him tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
So look out for the Couch Coach this week. It's going to be a real good one.
Again, like, share, subscribe, share it to your friends. Even if you're not even going to watch the video on YouTube, you can literally click it and mute out the video and just listen to it like a normal podcast, right? We're giving you insights on a lot of things. So really, please like, share, subscribe. Again, we appreciate everybody who's following. And we're going to dive into the next one. Tim, your mic's off.
You said my mic is off.
Yeah, your camera's off.
My camera's good.
I just see a blank. I just see a black spot.
I can see it. We're good. Now we have to pause again in 37 minutes. So,
all right.
You really can't see me, huh? I can see me.
I can't see you at all. You're black. You're like, it's a black screen.
No, we'll be okay.
I can see myself.
It says actual recording is higher quality. So, I mean, if I do this, now you can't see me. How about now?
Recording continues smoothly. Live video will return when the internet improves.
Okay, we'll be all right. Mark.
Yeah, we're fine. So go into.
Okay, so we're gonna have to skip that. So Brandon, up next, we have to talk about what's going to happen this week as we get ready to wind down this week's show. We're going to talk about quarterback matchups. I'll start this week, and I'm going to start with an old division foe. They're not in the same division anymore, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to go play Jared Goff and the Lions. What I love
it's going to be a good game.
As a kid, I got to watch this matchup twice a week. It wasn't very good. The Lions and Tampa Bay sucked, but they were in the same division, right, with the Bears. And so I got to watch them. I mean, twice a year I got to watch them play. They haven't, you don't get to see that anymore. They're in different divisions, but this is going to be a great game. Goff, 69.8 completion percentage. Baker is at 69.6. So we've got two very close quarterbacks there. Goff has 1,200 yards. Baker, 882. So that's not as close. Goff, 9 touchdowns, 3 picks. Baker, 7 touchdowns, 2 picks. The Lions coming off a big win while the Bucs coming off a bye. This is a game that the Buccaneers, I feel, need more than the Lions do, just because they're coming off that bye weekend and they're, the Saints get a big win, so they're trying to keep pace and win that division. But that's going to be a fun game to watch, even if you're not a fan of one of these two teams, because both these quarterbacks are playing at a high level.
Absolutely. I think my matchup is Brock Purdy versus Deshaun Watson. I personally feel this is a trap game for the 49ers, and I tell you why. The Cleveland Browns defense has been playing lights out. They got a great defensive front with Myles Garrett. They have a good secondary. They're pretty stingy. They play well versus good teams. But Deshaun Watson is kind of a hit or miss, coming after a shoulder injury, which he was medically cleared. I feel like right now he does have a chance to maybe make it a game. But if you can't run the ball, brother, and if you can't sustain drives, we're going to kick your teeth down your throat.
Wow.
Now, another matchup I'm looking forward to seeing, and I want to see it. Dak versus Herbert. How does Dak respond?
That's not even a matchup.
How does Dak respond? That's what I want to see.
Listen,
I'm not going to enamor you with all these stats. How
Cowboy fan, I'm going to tell you right now,
respond?
There is no way Dak and the Cowboys offense is going to be able to keep pace with Justin Herbert and what the Chargers are doing.
Well, since the Diggs injury, you guys are the 30th ranked pass defense in the league right now. So I think Justin Herbert may have a field day. However, the Chargers defense sometimes they're inconsistent. Khalil Mack is coming off of a 6-sack game. Bruh, get ready, because Dak can't even move anymore. I don't feel like he wants to move, but I'm curious to see how he will Respond.
This is an ugly game.
That's going to tell me enough.
It's not even a trap game. Cowboys are going to lose. I don't know what the spread is, but they're not going to cover. Based on what I saw yesterday, I'm taking the Chargers. I'm taking the Chargers.
Hey, man, but the 49ers are a whole different animal, brother.
That's true. I'll give you that.
A whole different animal. Y'all going to be able to compete, man. Let's just say that. I just want to see how he's going to respond. Do you have another QB matchup you're looking forward to seeing?
I do, and this is going to be a fun one. And just this, I say this because of the last 2 weeks and because this division is really wide open. The Vikings travel to Chicago. Now, both teams only have.
That's going to be a good matchup.
Both teams have one win, I believe. I don't think the Bears have won 2 games. I could be wrong on that, but the Vikings might be the best 1-4 team in the NFL. Maybe the best 1-4 team we've ever seen. But this is a game where Justin Fields has an opportunity to really seize control of his Chicago Bears and make it so they can't trade him, right? I don't want to see him get traded. I'm afraid Chicago might pull that trigger and do that. I hope they don't, because really all you're doing, again, is mortgaging your future on an unknown entity, which is what
not once, but twice.
5 or 6 years. So I don't want them to trade Justin. Keep Justin. Hold on to Justin as long as you can. You just brought in DJ Moore, who is obviously an amazing receiver and helps Justin quite a bit. I think this game is going to be one to watch. And the winner of this game, depending on what the Lions do in the final stretch, the winner of this game could be in contention to win this division. Believe it or not, the Bears are still there if they can win this coming weekend. I don't know. I don't think they will, but I think this is going to be a fun game to watch. A lot of points, a lot of numbers get put up.
I mean, Minnesota right now, I mean, like I said, they're probably the best 1-4 team we've ever seen. Yep. If you look at their matchups, they're all within 7 points. They could easily be sitting here 5-0. They really could.
It should be.
Right? It's not that they're just playing bad. It's just there's some of the little things that aren't there. Is he missing Dalvin Cook because Madison's only had 100 yards in one game this year? Right? Is he missing that piece? Right? It's not all on Kirk. Right? Defender, especially during the Chargers game. Right? It went right through his hands. I always said Justin Herbert didn't have a clutch gene. Haven't seen it. Right? That time, it did give him a little bit of clutch gene, but that was pure luck. I mean, it was pure luck. He was given a gift. He didn't execute.
Cousins comes out, throws a dart to his tight end, right? First play of the game, first series of the game, and he 20-yard gain or so, and he fumbles. And that's picked up by the Chiefs, and it sits the
turnovers been killing them, man. Fumbles. They're like they probably fumbled the most out of any team I've seen this year.
It's been bad.
Yeah. So what else are we looking forward to? Are we going to the first quarter MVP?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about, I mean, it's a little premature, but we like to talk about MVPs. We like to talk about quarterbacks. So, yeah, let's talk about the first quarter MVP. I think I know who yours is going to be based on all the gear that you have on today, but who's your first quarter MVP right now?
You know damn well who my first quarter MVP is. Glock Purdy. My man is on pace to throw for 4,300 yards, 31 TDs, and no interceptions. Now, is he going to throw an interceptionless season? Probably not, right? We know things happen. But I think what he's doing right now is he is delivering the mail, he is driving the Ferrari, and he is not crashing it. That's what we need out of our quarterback when we have so many weapons. I feel like he has stepped in and led that and is leading that team. That team follows Brock Purdy. My man, when he just threw his 4th touchdown, instead of celebrating with his teammates on the sideline, you know what he was doing? He was watching the film to see what could he improve on. What did he miss? Okay. Damn it, I love that. That is what I want from my quarterback, right? Yeah. 72% completion, the number 1 QBR in the NFL right now, 9 TDs to no picks and a 5-0 run right now. He is playing arguably the best out of any quarterback in the NFL right now.
Say it with your
chest. I'm saying it. We cover it, and we know it. I'm saying it right now. We cover the league. We see it.
We do. And
you'd be blind if you could say no. No, he's not.
He's certainly up there. I'm going to go a different way. I'm going to go with Tua right now. I'm going to go with Tua. 71%, almost 72% completion, 1,600 yards, 11 touchdowns, 5 picks, 111.9 QBR. They took a rough one on the chin to Buffalo, but he comes back. He responds against the Giants, as you should. They have a big win there. Will they score 70 again? I doubt it. But they're doing a lot of good things there. Tua is delivering the mail the way he should. He's staying healthy. He's not taking hits, which is huge. I'm going to put Tua in that mix for now as maybe our first ever left-handed MVP. How about that?
Steve Young was a
Was
back-to-back
he an MVP?
MVP. How
Okay,
dare
all
you?
right.
How dare
Second
you say that on
left-handed
this
MVP.
show,
My
knowing
bad.
Steve Young is my guy?
My bad. I
Two-time.
didn't mean. I don't remember
Two-time.
Steve Young
And
winning
when
an
he
MVP.
retired, he was the most accurate quarterback of
All right.
all time.
All right.
Look it up.
Now we winded you up a little bit too much.
Yeah, man. Don't you
We
talk
need to
about
take that
Steve
off
like
a
that,
little
man.
bit.
You
I
see him
made
in
a
the back,
mistake.
man.
Okay, I'm going to walk that back. The second
Yeah, walk
left-handed
that all the way back, brother.
MVP.
You're
For
tripping.
anyone who doesn't know, Brandon's a left-hander. So if you ask Brandon,
Damn right. I
every
can spin
left-hander
that
should be
thing.
in the Hall of Fame.
Maybe with the best of them. But that's for other people to say.
So let's talk. I use the word Hall of Fame. We talk about elite quarterbacks all the time. I want to talk about something that is should fire us both up because you hate these guys and I hate this quarterback right now. Mike or Dak here in Dallas. Who's on the hot seat?
Dak. Period.
How's it Dak? How's it Dak?
Dak, man. Look, man. In the West Coast offense, your job is to get the ball out of your hands quickly, make quick, decisive decisions. When you go through it's either going through the first, the third, or the fourth read. He doesn't do that very well outside of his two reads. He doesn't handle pressure very well when in your face, which probably no quarterback does. But he has to use his leg and extend plays. Mike can't prepare you for every eventuality. Your job as a quarterback is to lead your team into the end zone. Stats and touchdowns are not going to how you're going to be judged. Your job is to get your team in the end zone. Period. Dak is not doing that, man.
So as much as I
Every
want to
big
agree,
game, he nuts up.
I want
Every
to agree
game.
with you. I do. I
Every big
agree.
game.
In fact,
Except one game, the Bucks with the Tom Brady thing. That was beautiful.
I agree with everything that you're saying. I'm not going to buy into the Buccaneer game because at that point in time, the Buccaneers were finished. They got to the playoffs, I think, with what?
Hey, they fought, man, but it was a beautiful game from Dak, man. On the road against Tom Brady in his career. They can never beat Tom Brady. He did that. I'm going to give him his flowers on that. Consistently, absolutely not versus good teams.
I can't put Dak on the hot seat, and this is why. We paid him too much damn money. Nobody out there is going to take him in the middle of this contract and absorb the money that he's being paid. Also, I'm pretty positive he has a no trade clause in his agreement. So now we can't trade him. Even if we could trade him, I don't see a team when I'm looking out into the landscape that would go, we want Dak. We want him. Nobody, especially after last night, right? The reason I say Mike, and I don't think Mike deserves to be on the hot seat, but I think you have to make another change. I think you tried to change Kellen Moore out. That didn't work. Mike McCarthy's a very good play caller. I don't care what the rhetoric may be. He won a Super Bowl, be it with Aaron Rodgers. He won a Super Bowl. He's part of the Bill Walsh tree. He knows the West Coast offense. He knows how to run it. If he had the right quarterback, I think he'd be fine. I think him and Kellen Moore both had the wrong quarterbacks to do what they want to do. I think where Mike McCarthy might be messing up is he didn't fix the offense to work around Dak. Right. And at this point, because of his lack of mobility, I don't know what that offense looks like to work around Dak because he's limited in the throwing game and now he's limited in the running game. And we don't have that pounding every down running back. I love Tony Pollard. He's proven to me he's not an every down back. So we don't have that every down back.
He's third down back. That's okay.
It's a mess. It's a mess in Dallas. I think, unfortunately, when that happens, it's the head coach that has to go because there's no market and there's no place to move Dak. So I think
who do you go get?
Or get anybody that's on the Philadelphia Eagles staff right now.
Do you go get Coach Prime?
And start running? No. Coach Prime doesn't belong in the NFL.
He's like, no.
Coach, I love Prime. He belongs in college because he's not going to have the kids. He's not going to have grown men buy into him the way the kids are. It's just not going to happen.
But it's Dion, though.
I love Dion.
Different, man.
For Dion's health, he should stay in college. He goes to the NFL. That's a different world. It's not going to work. All the bravado, all that, it's not going to work.
So who would you go get? Like if it's McCarthy's fault, right? And he's
I'm not saying it's McCarthy's fault. I'm saying out of the two, you can only move off McCarthy.
Okay, so who's the best fit for Dak?
I don't know. Maybe it's
you've had a high-powered passing offensive coordinator. You had a more conservative offensive coordinator. Two of them.
That didn't work.
So what is it?
I don't know. I'm out of answers. We've had
You know,
3 different
I
offensive
think I got
coordinators.
an answer for you. I got an answer for you.
What is it?
Trey Lance.
You know what? At this point, I was disappointed
Why
last
not?
night that Cooper
See
Rush
what he's
went
got.
because I want to see Trey Lance. I want to see what Trey Lance does. And if we continue to do this, when we lose to the Chargers, and then when we lose to the Eagles another couple of weeks, and when we start to look up and we realize maybe we can't make the playoffs, God, I hope that doesn't happen. But if it does, that's when we need to pull out Trey Lance, see what you got. But it still doesn't help us because we still can't move on Dak.
Or do you go with Cooper Rush?
We still can't move on Dak. That's the problem. We have to play
I
Dak. He
think you
makes
can,
$45
man.
million.
You don't have to pay him. We have to really look at that contract breakdown.
Somebody said
There's a way to get his ass up out of Dallas.
Well, you know what?
He's just not it, bro. I don't see it. I don't like Dak as a person. I think he throws a
Everybody
pretty
likes Dak as
ball.
a person.
Man, it's just when crunch time happens, man, this team is built around tough, hard-nosed defensively because you guys did shut us out in a little bit, like a couple 3-and-outs. I was like, oh, shit, we got to keep this a double-digit game because if it gets close, I don't know. But Dak never
We were up
just
14
took it.
nothing.
Dak never took it. I need you to take it. I was hoping he took it, and he didn't.
When it was 14 to nothing, Brandon, I knew it was over. We're not a comeback from we're not a come from behind team. We never win when we're losing. We never come back. Ridiculous.
I mean, we have before, but we're really not losing.
You're really messing up my whole day here. So let's move on. I don't want to talk about Dak. I don't want to talk about Mike. I don't want to talk about the Cowboys unless we're talking about this guy who I miss dearly. So let's move on, Brandon. You have been tearing it up in fantasy.
I really have.
You get the text messages about who's on your team and who's doing well and who's not doing well. And I'll tell you what, folks, you should listen to our show because in every segment, we're giving you fantasy nuggets. We're telling you who to look out for based on what they did a week ago. But now we're going to dive into it just a little bit deeper. Brandon, who are your top fantasy picks from last week? Who should we start this week? Who do we need to stay away from when we're looking at our starting lineups?
My top picks from last week was definitely Jalen Hurts. I even had Jared Goff. I selected him and it won. Right, he was very efficient. I also had, crazy to say, I did have Brock Purdy. I did because I just felt what I was seeing was on point. I didn't have I didn't have Joe Burrow. I did have Mahomes last week. I have a triple threat fantasy team, and it's scary. You know who my first? I call it the triple threat. It's Jamar Chase, DJ Moore, and Jalen Hurts.
Wow.
Those alone gave me close to like 150 points. It was crazy. I think it was like 136. Both Jamar Chase and DJ Moore had like 54 points. It's crazy, right? Put up over 200 points. Hey, I'm feeling good about the fantasy team, man. But, shout out to Dallas Sippy and Mo Money League. Those are some really tough leagues. And I'm not saying I'm a fantasy expert on that. I've been having some good success. But it's just really learning on the fly and really understanding matchup play. I think matchups are crucial. And you touched in on this, especially in the QB matchup you're looking forward to. Start Kirk Cousins versus the Bears. Start Josh Allen versus the Giants. Start Justin Herbert versus the Cowboys. Start Joe Burrow versus the Seahawks. Start Pat Mahomes versus the Broncos. Start Tua versus the Panthers. And starts Matthew Stafford versus the Cardinals. Start them. They're going to light it up. They're going to light it up. They're going to light it up.
Start.
My quarterbacks to stay away from. And I know not a lot of people really have these QBs. Probably only two that I really say you probably have. Anthony Richardson versus the Jags. Can't depend on him to be healthy. He's out 3 out of the 5 games. He's a dynamic talent.
I mean,
he may or may not. I don't really know. What's the issue with the shoulder?
I didn't see the report, but when he landed on it, he immediately reached over to his shoulder. I think it was separated. Probably he may have torn some stuff because he was just laying there.
Yeah, I haven't heard any update. Yeah, I haven't heard any update. Yeah, you also need to stay away, and these could be anywhere between Prize Picks and obviously FanDuel, even if you want for DraftKings. So I'm just kind of giving you an overall. You don't have to have these people on your fantasy team. Stay away from Sam Howell versus the Falcons. every Falcons team, every Falcons game, these quarterbacks have been shut down quietly, which is kind of strange. I think even if Anthony Richardson is cleared, you still stay away from him. You cannot rely on him for a full game yet. He has yet to do it
No, he's
outside
been hit
of
three
the one where
times.
he almost led the comeback and they
Right.
lost to the Rams. That is the only game he has started from start to finish, right? Also, stay away from C.J. Stroud versus the Saints. We just saw what they did to Mac Jones. C.J. Stroud is on a tear right now. However, the Saints defense, and I'm going to use this in the couch coach. This is a rising team because of how the schedule plays out, and their defense is their defense.
Fair
It has
enough.
not changed in the past 5 to 6 years. It is still
No.
the same damn team, right? They're starting to pick up offensively. Stay away from Zach Wilson and the Chiefs, or stay away from Russell Wilson versus the Chiefs.
Oh, yes.
Stay away from that. Stay
I
away
agree.
from that because
Mhm.
Russ, even though statistically he's not doing bad, I just feel like he is very coddled by Sean Payton and really doesn't allow Russ to be Russ. Russ likes to get outside the pocket, create plays for himself. He hasn't been playing like garbage. I don't think he's been in any one of our segments in garbage juice.
No.
So right now, I'd say stay away from those guys. That is what I have. Good luck on your picks. Good luck trying to win some money because I think with those stardoms, you're going to really have an opportunity to make some money.
Well, that sounds like some great advice, Brandon, and everybody out there should be appreciative of that advice. Again,
Take it or leave it, homie.
for tuning in. That's going to do it for this week's edition of the QB Huddle podcast, by far our longest show, and we didn't even have our guest today, so we'll try to condense it more. Unless you like it this long, then we might just keep it this long. It
Hey,
doesn't
man,
matter.
I like it, man. It's good. It's good banter. I love it.
It was good. So thanks again for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment. Even if you disagree with us, which many of you will disagree with me about Dak, bring it on. I want to have those conversations. Keep an eye out for the Couch Coach podcast. That'll be later this week. Should be on Thursday. Thanks again for tuning in. And to our incredible producer, Mark Watson, we know we make your life hard, but you make us look beautiful, and we appreciate you for that.
Perfect, brother.
Look for our show next week as we'll have special guest Mark Clayton from the University of Oklahoma. That should be exciting. For my podcast partner, Brandon Newey, my name's Tim Smith, and we'll see you here next week on the QB Huddle podcast.
Peace.